This is DRF Race of the Day. Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Buer, the DRF Race of the Day for Thursday, May the 6th. Race number 6 at Belmont Park. We kick off the late pick 4 with a very competitive maiden special weight going 1 3/8 miles on the inner turf. Our Race of the Day coverage is presented by our friends at Justa Farm. Watch your foal grow into an athlete with Justa Farm's breeding and racing partnerships. Visit 851 Saginaw Road in Oxford, Pennsylvania, or go to justafarm.com. For more information. Be part of the sport of kings with Justa Farm's affordable racing partnerships, your ticket to the backside to watch them train and enjoy the thrill of racing. Visit justafarm.com for more details today. Here's the field for race number 6. You can download free Formulator past performances on the Race of the Day event page at drf.com. Access them and handicap along with us. Mike, some very well-bred horses. Some horses that I would say from watching the tape are growthy, maybe growing into themselves. And all of them, I think, have the potential to really like this 1 3/8 distance.
Yeah, I think that's true. I mean, it does kind of feel like a race where maybe the distance could be the ultimate deciding factor. I mean, nobody's, so far anyway, none of these horses have really distinguished themselves. We have 10 entered for the turf, Dan. 5 of them have already lost for a claiming tag.
A lot of these horses are big and gangly and green and learning, so maybe you want to just get out front. And the Timeform US Pace Projector, which I think is always a dicey proposition with horses stretching out significantly, especially on the turf. It has Summer Silence, who's one of those very growthy horses. He kind of got stopped in his one and only turf race at Tampa Bay, and it took him a long time to get going again. Maybe Jose Ortiz should just put him up front.
Yeah, we'll see if he has the speed to get there. I suspect they won't go a fast pace, Dan. So if somebody, comes out of the gate with some initiative, I don't think it'll be that hard to make the early lead. I suppose the pace projector has him on the lead because he's coming out of dirt races that, have slightly faster paces.
The one Tiz Tact Toe is stretching out 3/8 of a mile, and from this inside post probably could secure a nice spot just off the pace. He's exiting a key race at Gulfstream on Florida Derby Day. The runner-up came back to win up here at Belmont with an 84 Beyer speed figure. He's one of those horses that's already lost for a tag. He looks like a big green horse who made up some ground last time out. Now the question is, can he sustain it going 1 3/8 miles?
Yeah, that's a big question. It's a big question for him. It's a big question for all of them. He did, if nothing else, Dan, he took a step forward in that last start, which was his first turf start for this new trainer, Bob Hess. So I guess that's a good sign. And you're right, he was in a good field that day. The runner-up who did come back up here to break his maiden at Belmont, I didn't like him at all that day, but he ran a good race. And the horse that won that maiden race, Colton's Command, looks pretty good. He came back and ran in a super tough allowance race on Sunday at Belmont, and he was okay in that race.
Summer Silence, the number 2, 1 of 2 in here for Christophe Clement. Thought it was an okay debut on turf going 1 1/8 miles at Tampa Bay, Mike. It was a race that produced 3 next out winners. And again, he was under a bit of a ride on the turn. I thought he got steadied in between horses. And once he got going again, it was a little bit too late. He finished just behind Connor's Key, who's also in this race. They put him on dirt in his last couple, but this horse has a lot of turf on the bottom of his pedigree. The Dam, a grade 3 winner on the lawn. Grade 3 placed on the lawn.
Yeah, that's kind of, I looked at it like the same way you did, it sounds like that. I mean, his dirt races are fine, and maybe they're even an improvement, but I don't know, how well I thought he ran on dirt. His career debut on the grass, it just looked like a race he really needed. I mean, he was super green early in that race. By the time they got to the second turn, he was in between horses. It looked like it almost looked like he tried to get out, and he bumped a rival to his outside. He had to steady at that point. I don't know. He just looked like he didn't really know what he was doing. We've talked about this before. I'm not a big fan of these Union Rags on the turf, but this horse is all grass and all distance on the bottom of his pedigree.
The 3 Royale, another horse with a big turf pedigree. The Dam, multiple grade 3 placed on the lawn. This one goes out for Clement, made the debut for a $40,000 tag at Belmont. Very green, ran in spots that day, didn't change leads in the stretch. I was looking forward to seeing what he did last time out at Aqueduct. They stepped him up into a maiden special. And again, wide at the back, very green, didn't change leads. You're going to have to change leads going 1 3/8 miles against this group, I would think.
Yeah, I would think so. We'll see if he grows up a little bit in just his third start now. We'll see. You're right. He was green first time out. He was the only first-time starter in that field. He was like an okay third, I thought. I didn't really like his last race at all, but it was against better horses.
Funny game, the breeding game. The 4 Prayer Book is a half brother to Run Happy, a champion sprinter. This horse is by Uncle Mo, a champion 2-year-old. This horse, to me, looks like he wants to go about 3 miles. Let's watch Prayer Book's last race at Gulfstream, going 1 mile and an eighth. Thought he got a good trip overall. Saved ground most of the way, came off the rail into the stretch with a 3-wide bid, and we just see him grinding and grinding and grinding. And he's going to finish second, 70 Buyers speed figure, good tactical speed, nice pedigree, obviously, and the distance I think should be good for him.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if he gets another trip like he got in here, which was a great one, that could pay dividends against this field. Maybe that's all it will take, Dan, is a good trip like that. I still don't want to bet him out of that race right there. You got a great trip. The horse that won the race was a first-time starter who took no money. I just didn't see the excuse that this horse had.
Gold Bear, the number 5, is by a solid turf stallion. Pioneer of the Nile wins about 15% with first-time turf runners. But you look at the bottom of this pedigree, a lot of dirt. The dam, she made most of her money on the dirt. She was a multiple grade 3 stakes winner that went 0 for 2 on the turf. She's foaled a couple of turf runners that didn't win. It is Michael Maker stretching him out on the turf first time, but I wish there was a little bit more grass in the pedigree.
I feel the same way. I probably would have picked him if there was, Dan. I actually liked I thought his career debut was a deceptively good effort. And he just got in, I guess, in too tough of an allowance race last time against Dynamic One and never really made an impact. I think it's interesting that he's switching to turf here first time for Maker. I just didn't see enough pedigree to talk myself into him.
The 6 Snows Island is an interesting horse at a price for an underrated trainer in Tom Bush. He's certainly bred for grass, being by Animal Kingdom out of a grade 2 stakes winner on the turf. Snows Island made his career debut going 1 mile and an eighth, not an easy debut distance. He ran okay after falling far behind early.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think he's interested in this race. That just didn't break well from the gate in his debut. And then he got a little hard to handle early on. He ran up into some traffic. Gaffalione had to check him. And he lost ground to the back. And I thought he was racing on, okay. He was never threatened there. Okay to get up for 4th at the end. It's certainly the kind of race that feels like he could build off of.
The 7, I Am the Law, is entered main track only. We move to the 8, Houdini's Awesome. Let's go to Houdini's Awesome's most recent turf race back in December for trainer Todd Pletcher, who also has Prayer Book. This race, a scant $25,000 maiden claimer. Houdini's Awesome fell far behind early. He's going to come with an okay run. This race has produced 3 next out winners. The 4th place finisher coming back to win his next 2 with buyers of 58 and 64. But again, this race only a maiden claimer.
Yeah, only a maiden claimer. He just did all his running when the race was already over, got up for second, but he never looked like he was going to win, Dan. He still hasn't run a fast race. He has 0 early speed that I can find. I don't know, maybe he'll take a big step forward here.
Our next 2 horses have big pedigrees for big barns. The 9 is Kana's Key, who goes out for Chad Brown. He is a flincher half-brother to Tide of the Sea, who really got good when stretching out around a big distance of ground. Let's watch Kana's Key's last race at Tampa Bay Downs. Beaten favorite in a maiden special. In between horses turning into the stretch, Mike. And again, just kind of a grindy performance going the mile and a 16th, as in the vein of a horse that might want to go a little longer.
Yeah, maybe he does. As you've already mentioned, he's bred to really handle the added ground. He runs fine in this race to be second. This is sort of the same race that he's run all 4 times now, Dan, or at least in the last 3. Maybe he'll just get better. I won't be surprised when that happens. I do think in a lot of ways he's the horse to beat in here. But what kind of price would you want to take on this horse? It just kind of feels like an open kind of race, and he's going to take a ton of money in there.
Interesting that Trig McGahee dropped the 10 Proven Innocent in for $50,000, considering his pedigree. His dam has thrown nothing but good horses. This horse must be a half to 6 or 7 black type earners, including Ironicus and Seal Cove and No Rumbega. So there's distance, there's turf, there's versatility. This horse did not have an easy trip in that maiden claiming race last time out, and now returns as a gelding.
Yeah, I'm surprised that they ran him for a tag too. He just sort of went evenly in basically all of his races, but at least last time he had a little bit of an excuse. Not only did he get bumped and wind up probably further back than he wanted to be, he was wide. It was a race with a rated pace. It felt like the closers were really compromised in there. He probably ran a lot better than it looks last time.
Wicked Grinch completes this field. Let's watch the Grinch's debut. 62-1 against New York bred maiden claimers. He's going to come with a good run, Mike. It's not like there was a ton of pace in this race. Michael's Bad Boys even money. Wicked Grinch makes your exacta.
Yeah, he does. He was totally outrun early in this race, too. He was way out of it. He made a pretty nice run around the turn to catch up. He came in out to the stretch. Now he's just grinding, Dan, but he's going to get up for second in here at a big price. Listen, I won't be surprised if he takes another step forward. I'd like to see him show a little more speed this time.
Top pick time for the Thursday race of the day. To me, this would have to be a spread in the opening leg of the 50-cent late pick 4. You're going with Summer Silence. I think he's going to offer a little bit of value, and he should be forwardly placed somewhat.
Yeah, I hope he can get forwardly placed. I just hope he builds off the turf debut, Dan. Again, he's a Union Regs, which I don't love, but he's got a lot of pedigree on the bottom for turf and distance, and I thought his turf debut was very useful.
Tic-Tac-Toe, my top pick, has to be a good price in this race, even though his 72 buyer speed figure from last time out puts him in competitive stead with this group. I like the stamina-based workouts leading up to this race from a very sharp and underrated trainer in Hess. He'll be a good price. He'll work out a decent trip. It's a wide open field. 1, 3, 4, 10 for me, 2, 6, 9, 10 for Mike. The Thursday race of the day presented by Justa Farm.
Hi, welcome to Justa Farm. I'm Ann Betch, and my family's been involved in racing for 4 generations. I decided to start Justa Farm to make horse racing available to everybody, because everybody should have access to horse racing. Our horses are treated like family. My husband and I actually refer to the barn as downstairs. The house is upstairs, the barn is downstairs. God's honest truth. The interaction time that you spend with a horse builds its connection, whether you just want to give them treats, whether you want to take them for a walk and let them eat some grass. You learn who they are and they learn who you are. Our partners get to experience the thrill of racing. When you're at the track, everybody who's there is cheering for somebody, and you get to cheer for your horse, not just the one with the funny name. When our partners visit Fair Hill Training Center, they get to experience a day in the life of their horse. Many trainers are too busy to have appropriate amounts of times for their owners and to set time aside for their owners. We make that a priority. We start them and do a lot of the training and teach them to be ridden. But once they need to learn about the track, we send them to Carl.
My name is Carl Doran. I've been training for the last 12 years. I get to ride my own horses, which there's not a ton of trainers that get to do that. My favorite thing about racing is the excitement when you're actually in a race. We try and do all these stages in mind that you're going to keep the horse confident and happy and healthy. Oh, your experience here is going to be awesome. I mean, it's so laid back here for owners. It's more of a day outing, I feel like, and you couldn't come to a more beautiful place as well. So
our sport has gotten some black eyes from people not putting the horses first, and both Carl and I do that. That's why I chose him. At Justa Farm, we do things the right way, and we hope to show people that you can do things the right way and succeed.